Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Alex Stiebling to defeat Mark Hughes. And I'm here to talk about Alex Pereira versus Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz is 29-9-1 as a pro. He is 40 years old, and he's giving up 2 inches of height and 2 inches of reach to 7-2 Alex Pereira, who is 36 years old. I don't think Pereira should be taking this fight or any fight. I think he should have taken more time off. He was knocked dead against Adesanya. Not TKO'd like he did to Adesanya, but knocked dead like Rumble did to Glover. And here he is just 3 months later, and he's about to get back into the octagon. I think the only thing that makes it a little more palatable as a decision is the fact that he's moving up in weight here to light heavyweight. And he's not going to have to deplete himself the night before the fight. But on the flip side, he's going to have to deal with light heavyweight power, that Polish power that doesn't exist at middleweight. So that could work against him. In general, I just think it's a bad decision to be taking any fight 3 months later. But here he is, and professionally, he's not losing a lot making this decision. You know, he's still in title contention. In fact, this could have been a title fight up until like a week ago. This is a very high-profile fight with Blachowicz. And that's good for him because I thought he was certainly losing a lot of history at middleweight, by leaving middleweight, I should say. But Pereira, he's the most dangerous guy in the UFC. Got the most dangerous striking in the UFC. The single greatest weapon, the left hook, in the whole sport. And some calf kicks, which are up there. It's probably in the top 10 as well, as far as overall weapons go. But Pereira, yeah, he's just a killer. Incredibly dangerous. 7 wins, 6 of them come by TKO or KO. And just one decision to Bruno Silva, who just refuses to get knocked out. Even when he's halfway there, he'll lose by decision or submission. But Pereira still, he marched that guy down, and everybody else in the UFC, he's gotten out of there. Steamrolled Sean Strickland, cracked Michailidis' head open in round 2 with a flying knee, and that was after being crowded in round 1. And of course, famously got Adesanya out of there very deep into the fight with 2 minutes left in a 25-minute fight. And he's still proved to be dangerous enough and powerful enough to get Adesanya out of there. So overall, he's still the most dangerous guy, even with a compromised chin. And I think Blachowicz, even though he's got that Polish power, and again, Pereira might have some chin concerns, he's not going to want to be on the feet with Pereira. He's just not going to. I think Pereira, even though he's not fighting to his fullest potential as a striker like he would in Glory, doing spinning shit and whatever, I think he's obviously much more concerned with takedowns here, but still, he's the bigger man, even at light heavyweight. And even though Jan Blachowicz has a very solid chin, Pereira is more than capable and should, in my opinion, knock him out if they're standing up. I think Jan Blachowicz is definitely good enough to test Pereira's grappling out, though. Jan Blachowicz fought the other great Glory kickboxer 2 years ago or so, Israel Adesanya, and he beat him by mixing in the wrestling, and he had to do that deep into the fight. And Adesanya is still good enough where that never really became a jiu-jitsu battle, but Blachowicz was still bigger and stronger and was able to stuff Adesanya on the ground, stuff his guard, and keep him there. And I do think he would have similar success with Alex Pereira. If he rips him to the mat, maybe he gets a submission. He submitted plenty of good guys, Blachowicz, Nikita Krylov, Devin Clark, a few others, I'm sure. But he is going to be definitely strong on top. Even if he's not able to submit him, I think he's going to control him. Jan Blachowicz, can he get the fight there? I think he's got the wrestling that's good enough to do it. I know Pereira's been sharpening his wrestling defense every day since he committed to MMA, but he's still not too deep into his career, and it wasn't long ago where he was ripped to the mat by Andreas Michailidis. I just think Blachowicz is a guy who will get it done. He's very patient on the feet, keeps himself sound defensively, Jan Blachowicz. He keeps himself in the fight. One of the great counter strikers. And he's really got a great kicking game as well. Great kicking. Just ask Ankalaev. Blachowicz almost got him out of that fight with leg kicks. But Blachowicz, again, the striking in this fight should be a means to an end. I think he's showing up as the grappler, and his counters will be getting in on Pereira's hips. And maybe it's a clinch up high or a straight up double leg, but he's going to be looking to get in on him when Pereira's trying to get close and rip him to the mat. Blachowicz had a lot of success ripping Adesanya to the mat in the center of the octagon, and I expect similar tactics against Pereira. Blachowicz, he has only been knocked out once. Again, it was by Thiago Santos deep into round 3 where he's caught chasing him. And his other TKO loss is a doctor stoppage to Terry, I forget his full name, but Sokaju from Pride 33 and 34 and fucking the UFC back in 2008 or so. And that's it, though. He's never been knocked out since then, since the Thiago Santos fight. He's been submitted once by Glover Teixeira and another time very early in his career. And then he's been outpointed to guys who have largely out-wrestled him. Alexander Gustafsson didn't like what he saw on the feet against Blachowicz, and he ripped him to the mat. Patrick Cummins, of course, excellent wrestler, and Corey Anderson as well. That's been the path to victory for Blachowicz. But he's been a tough guy to best on the feet. Even some really good strikers like Ankalaev and Alexander Rakic, who are considered the cream of the crop of today's light heavyweights, and a little more, I feel like they're a little more trusted than Jan Blachowicz. And Blachowicz showed he's every bit the striker those guys are. Very much in the realm of beating both those guys. So I think Blachowicz, and he did technically beat Rakic. But I think Blachowicz should keep himself safe in this fight, especially considering he's 40 years old and fighting the most dangerous guy in the sport. And I think he's going to be hitting some timely takedowns, and he's going to pull ahead as this fight goes on. It's going to be more of a grappling match down the stretch, and I've got Blachowicz winning. Blachowicz is the pick. I guess I'd go with the decision, but for now, there are no prop bets. I've just bet on Blachowicz at minus 115. You can get those odds for either guy, and I see the value of Blachowicz. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit, and check out my other videos.